Hello, everyone. I am Claudiu Murgan, the host of the Spiritual Inspired podcast. Thank you for coming to a new episode of our show. Please go to www.spiritualinspired.ca to see more episodes, and also a reminder that we moved to Gnostic TV. My guest today is no other than Jerry Sargeant. Hello, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, man. How are you, bro?
I'm amazing that the fact that I have you on this show finally. It's been a while. You're quite busy. You travel a lot, and in fact, you are back from a long trip, a very meaningful trip. And before we start to that, I will encourage everyone to go and read Jerry's books, his story, how he got here. I don't want to uh, bother him and to repeat the same thing which you can find on other interviews or in his books. I really want to bring new content to the viewers. So, Jerry, what can you share with us from your amazing trip that just ended several days ago?
Yeah, so about 2 months ago, I was given 15 locations around the planet, and I was told to go and buy some very specific crystals. There was 30 crystals in total, two crystals that had to go to each location. And I was told that I needed to go to these places and lay them down to build a new grid. So I bought a map of the world and I put the dots of these 15 locations and I drew them together. And it was a perfect dragon's wing. And so we literally traveled to 15 different countries. We started in Romania, we ended up in Ireland, we went to Russia, Ethiopia, Easter Islands, Peru, Hawaii, Prague, Italy, France, Tibet, like all over the place, man. And we buried these crystals in the ground in specific locations and activated this dragon's grid. It's a seventh dimensional architecture, and it's the framework that's going to hold the new divine mother frequencies coming to planet Earth. So it's quite a big deal. But not only that, this dragon's wing is acting as the catalyst, like a key to activate the solar clock. And the solar clock is like woven through the fabric of space-time, and it's not like a clock that ticks forwards or ticks backwards, but it kind of winds and compresses energy. And what's going to happen is once it kind of compresses and reaches a convergence point, then boom, there's going to be an explosion. And this is what's going to create the solar flash, the solar flares coming to Earth, which will upgrade humanity's DNA in a massive way at some point in the next years. So that's the kind of mission we've been on. It was a crazy mission, went to some wild places, had lots of trials and tribulations, loads of beautiful moments. And yeah, came back a few days ago. So it
Yeah,
was
thank you.
awesome to be a part of that.
Thank you for sharing. And do you know if someone else will activate the other wing and the body, or just what you did is enough for the full activation you just mentioned?
Well, I've already been given the locations for the tail, which we're going to go and do in November and December, which is Hong Kong, New Zealand. It's kind of over that part of the world. And then I'm just waiting to see if we get the other wing, if we get the body. I'm not sure. Maybe someone else is doing that. I'm not sure at the moment. I know that no other parts of the dragon have been laid yet. This was the first wing. But maybe we'll get the whole dragon. Maybe someone else is going to do another part. I don't know at the moment. It's just kind of like it's a mystery. Normally things happen quite spontaneously. I had no plan of doing this trip. I had my August was completely fully jammed with stuff to do. But when I got given this mission, I had to cancel everything. So yeah.
Interesting. And are they going to show themselves up in a physical form, or they are going to stay only energetically helping us from that realm?
So the beings that gave me this task, there were two sets of beings. One were the cosmic grandfathers, which are these kind of 70-foot ancient grandfather beings that I work with in the cosmos, and then the dragon kings and dragon queen families, like they were working together on this. The dragons have been building the architecture for Earth and other planets and stuff for a long time. At the moment, the dragons are higher dimensional beings. There are some that shapeshift now and again into what look like humans, walking amongst us to get other bits of work done. But most of the time, they stay in their higher dimensional forms. Coming in as an actual dragon into this reality field, I don't think that's going to happen. Like physically, not now. We're not ready for that stuff anyway, as a species. But the dragons are amongst us in higher frequency bands. They're down in Earth. They're in different kind of crystal cities. They're here in the space around us, but on a different frequency band, and they're monitoring us really closely through this ascension process and helping us. The dragons, if you go back like billions of years through galactic history, the dragons went through their ascension a long time ago. So like what we're going through as a species on planet Earth, which is kind of coming through this kind of dark to light and getting everything in balance and reclaiming our kind of power and our multidimensional elements. The dragons did that a long time ago. They went through a lot of darkness. The dragons were in a very dark space, and they went through the process, and so they know what is required of us to go through our ascension process, and they're helping us with it. They know the importance of planet Earth. They know the importance of this living library that we're having this game of life on, and they know how important it is for humanity to reactivate the kind of angelic humanoid DNA templates that we had on other planets, before we kind of like got down regulated on Earth and became a sort of shadow of our former selves.
Yes, and do you use dragons during your meditations a lot? They are beautiful creatures. And disclaimer, which I should have said it at the beginning, I did attend one of your workshops back in January with my wife. I am part of your tribe, and I attend meditations, weekly meditations, as much as I can. So they are beautiful and very impactful for those who would like to try Jerry's meditation and what he does. Everything is online at starmagichealing.org. And going back to your trip, while you were back and forth from one country to the next, did you feel the energy of the land? Was that energy different from place to place?
Massively so. We went to some very dark places. We went to some very high frequency places. The crystals that we had to lay down and the grid points that we had to lay them in were different from any of the existing ley line grids and grid networks that are kind of woven through Mother Earth at the moment. Some of them were near to like nodal points that have already been activated and have been active for a long time on planet Earth, but none of them were in the same place. So some of these places that we went to were kind of real heavy. I mean, one of the heaviest places that we went to, which was quite surprising, was Tibet. Tibet was heavy. We had a huge battle with a load of darker beings when we got there to collapse the wall of time. The wall of time has been housing some of the ancient blue-ray Melchizedek races, which are some of the highest frequency beings bringing higher dimensional light codes to Earth for a long time. They were trapped in the wall of time for a very long time. And when we went there, we got woke up at 3 a.m. on the first night and went into this crazy kind of like multi-dimensional battle, multi-dimensional kind of piece of grid work to collapse this wall of time and free these Melchizedek races, which was amazing. And we kind of exited a number of lower vibrational forces from planet Earth. It went on for hours, but it was beautiful. Yeah. We went Ethiopia was amazing. And we went to some places there. Some were really heavy, some were really dark. We had to go to the Vatican at one point to do some work there. That was, I mean, the Vatican is just a cesspit of darkness and heaviness. So yeah, we went there and did some work, and we went to some beautiful places, man. I mean, Easter Island was amazing. The places we went to in Peru were just off the chart. So it was a mixture. France was amazing. We went to the Golden Triangle, had to do some work on like Mary Magdalene Land, which was beautiful. Yeah, you could feel the energy difference in different places. Yeah, and even in some places, like it was beautiful here, and you take two steps to the right, and it wasn't so nice. So as you were crossing, different points, different barriers of frequency, different levels of consciousness within the same space, you could feel the energy shift. Yeah, big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see the energy of Hong Kong, which is so populated and so technologized with so much technology. Then you'll see. I mean, it was very interesting. They don't have, I think, too much nature around, and for you to test that, the energy of the land will be quite something.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always what is above the land. Like you might have a lot of technology and stuff in a particular country. And so that obviously creates some kind of interference in the field, but it doesn't necessarily mean the place is going to be really, really dark and really heavy. Most of the interference is under the ground. It depends on the state of the grids. If the grids are clean and clear, you got beautiful energy running underneath the ground, then that's going to kind of seep up through into our kind of more human environment. So it's not necessarily to do with the technology, although if you go into some cities and towns, it can be really heavy. You've got a lot of 5G pumping out and other heavy kind of um, electrical or electromagnetic forces that are coming out from different technologies. It can have an effect, but it's not like the ultimate kind of deciding factor of
Mhm.
what governs the field in a particular area.
Interesting. And Jerry, you mentioned Romania as your starting point, and we both have affinity with the country. I was born there. Um, have you traveled to the energetic places that are plenty over there? And there are amazing caves, and I think the Americans took over one of them. It has three tunnels that go towards the various places on Earth. One is Egypt, one is Tibet. So how do you feel about Romania?
I mean, we're building our first healing center in
Mm.
Romania, Transylvania. So, I mean, Romania for me is it's a beautiful place. I love it. We're building a house there at the moment. In a few months' time, I'm going to be living there all the time. I absolutely love the place. The energy is off the chart. Um, there are some amazing places. I mean, where we laid our first crystal grid, the first crystals as part of the grid, was right near Sama Segatusa. And underneath Sama Segatusa, it's like an Arcturian base. I mean, the place is off the chart. We had an amazing experience when we went there. We had to, like when you go to Sama Segatusa, you've got all of the wooden like blocks, pillars that are coming out of the ground that form that kind of geometrical structure, and you're not allowed inside the circle. But we had to go into the circle. So I was there with my girlfriend. She came on the trip with me along with Cherie, who heads up our video team, and we had to go into the center of the circle to pick up some codes. And I was asking, can I just take my light body into the center? And I was told, no, you need to go there physically. So there was security all around the place. So my girlfriend went to one side, I went to the other side, and we had to walk right through the center. And at the center, we stopped. We had a hug for maybe 20 seconds, which seemed like an eternity when all the security guys were screaming at us, but we just had to do it. So we walked down the central column, stopped in the center, hugged each other, uploaded the codes, and then carried on walking, went out the opposite exits. And then, yeah, we just pretended that we didn't speak any Romanian, and they just kind of left us alone after a while, after, a few minutes of screaming at us. And then we downloaded the codes into the crystals and went and buried the crystals in the woods. But Sama Segitusa is amazing. Like when we were walking up a road to it, and I saw a doorway, a multi-dimensional doorway in the path, and I stopped and I was asking, like this was a beautiful sunny day. There was not a cloud, there was not a whisper of wind. It was so calm. And I'm stood in front of this doorway and I was asking, do I need to go through the doorway? And straight away it thundered. and like this thunder came from nowhere, and it was like the elements were answering. Everywhere we went on this trip, the water was communicating, the winds, the different elements in different ways. So we were just being guided by the elements. We were being guided by different beings that were helping us. When we went to Sama Tusa, these wolves were coming out, these crystal white wolves. There were these ancient goddesses showing up that were just guiding us the whole way. Yeah, it was amazing. And there's many sacred sites around Romania, as you kind of alluded to. I mean, Shinkovec is one of my favorites. Going to the cave there. I mean, I've had some wild experiences there. Going to the Sphinx, obviously, which is above the tunnels that you were just talking about that go to Tibet and India and different places. So yeah, Egypt. So yeah, Romania is amazing. Where we're building our healing center, it's on a piece of land that's got a portal on it. We get the beings, opening the portal, coming through, doing work, leaving again. It's awesome.
Amazing, amazing to hear. And I heard or I read records about Sarmi Sagetusa being tarnished by old regime. They pull out the stone pillars and they replace them with wooden ones just to say that the civilization, the older civilization, the Dutch, were not that advanced as others claimed, and there is a lot of debris that covers the sacred site. And if someone will start digging and have a interesting and supervised excavation program, more will be revealed.
Absolutely, but they're not going to let that happen. They're always trying to cover things up. So, but if you go there and you're tapped in and you know how to kind of like see properly, with your multidimensional eyesight, then you're going to be able to see everything that's going on there.
Yes, and interesting fact is that recently I had an Akashic record reading done for me, and I was told that I should go to Romania to fill myself with energy and get some triggers within my energetic body. And I asked, "What about Egypt or Peru?" He said, "Yeah, those will come later, but Romania is the first one for you to go."
Yeah, Romania is powerful. I think a lot of people just don't really realize what's there, or maybe they do and just keep it quiet. I don't know, but very, very powerful lands, very sacred, very ancient. A lot's happened there, and a lot is still happening there. Subterranean.
Yeah. Jerry, I would like to turn to a subject which is dear to you, the DNA structure and strands. I interviewed Dr. Bruce Lipton, the author of The Biology of Belief, and I asked him if in all his research could find someone with more than two activated strands of DNA. He said no, but also mentioned that he thinks that such activation of 4 or 6 or 12 strands can be done at the energetic level and not a physical level. What's your take, please?
Absolutely. I mean, there are people walking this earth plane at the moment with their DNA highly activated on a multi-dimensional level. When your DNA is activated, you get access to so much more. If you're tapping into experiences with other beings, like let's say, for example, you're communicating with some kind of extraterrestrial, some kind of angelic being, whatever it is, you're not going to be able to do that with a two-strand template. You're looking at like four strands activated just to be able to communicate. You know, people are switching on their third eyesight. As their third eyesight is switching on, it's naturally intertwined with the up leveling of the DNA. Our DNA is computer code. There's so many kind of layers and levels within the DNA structure, and light and sound is what activates it. And when you're going through high frequency meditations, activations, speaking light language, there's different ways to do it. You're literally activating your body, which is a musical instrument. So maybe on a physical level, it may not look activated, but on a multidimensional level, definitely 100 gazillion%. And like what I was shown is when we activate our DNA, it falls into sync mathematically with other elements of us. Like inside our body, we've got a tree of life or a Cathara grid structure, which is like 12 spheres. housed in the 13th element. You've got your multidimensional Merkaba field, 12-pointed star. When those 10 tetrahedrons spin and create a sphere, it activates the 13th. You've got 13 transmission centers, which is what we call them in star magic, or some people call them multidimensional chakras. You've got all these different elements of 13 within and around your own physical structure. You've got 12 stargates, which are housed in the 13th on different levels. You've got 13 star constellations in our zodiac. When you start to activate all of these through light and sound in a very specific way, your multidimensional architecture switches on and your DNA naturally upgrades. And when I went into the Giza pyramid, like we go to Egypt every year and we run tours. But a couple of years ago, I went there and hired the whole pyramid for myself because I wanted to take myself through this activation because I'd been shown how to bring certain frequencies into your heart to activate what we'd call a dodecahedral heart, which is a heart that's housed in a dodecahedron, which is 12 sides. And what happens is 12 streams of light flow out from the heart through the 12 sides into the 12 points on your multidimensional Merkaba, activate it. Frequency comes back into the heart, down into the earth, up to the God worlds, and you get all of these things just switch on. And your whole frequency changes. So I was told to go and do this in the King's Chamber. So I laid down in the middle of the King's Chamber, went through this process, and the walls of the King's Chamber collapsed. They literally just turned to light and everything went orange. There's bits of black, and all of these beings walked in. Some of them were beautiful and some of them weren't so nice. And my light came out of my body and they took me up through a certain passageway through the Cathara grid network, through Stargates 3, 5, 8, up through 9, up through 12. We went up into the God worlds, and they were showing me how we can take our physical body through this structure. But at the moment, we're not in it. Our DNA template isn't activated enough to switch on the kind of coding inside of us to be able to take our physical body through this sequence. Now, a human being can take their soul, their light body, out from their physical body and just start jumping through these dimensional spaces. You know, out the body experience is quite easy, but to actually take your physical body up through these gateways is a whole different scenario. But we can do it. We are the kind of keys and the codes. They're inside our anatomy. It's just that we forgot we're Stargate guardians. We forgot that we came here as planetary custodians because our memory was blank slated. But what they were showing me in this kind of experience in the King's Chamber is what we're going to be capable of once we kind of remember this and start to switch on these mathematics. And so the DNA, people say like about a 12-strand DNA. It's not 12, it's 13. People talk about the 12 constellations, there's 13. People talk about 12 stargates, there's 13. The number 13 is the key. Like when we come onto planet Earth, well, not when we come onto planet Earth, but when we kind of come into our mother's womb, 49 days after conception, 8 little cells appear. Those 8 little cells form a Merkaba field. We're literally geometrical. You get DMT appear on 49 days. What is 9 and 4? If you add it together, 13. This number 13 is the number of the divine goddess. When we want to exit planet Earth, if we want to go in a spaceship, we've got to go at the speed of, we've got to go at Mach 33, which is 13.2. So 11.2 kilometers per second. 11 plus 2 is 13. So the number 13, getting off planet in a space rocket, coming into the planet Earth in our Merkaba field, it's all based around the number 13. So when we want to exit through our physical body by activating our multidimensional architecture, you do it through the number 13. This number 13 comes in everywhere. And that's why they say number 13 is unlucky number 13, because they want us to stay away from it. Everything they tell us to stay away from is what we probably should be working with. And everything they tell us to work with, we probably should be staying away from. You know, the whole kind of like matrix is inverted, but we just don't realize that as a species. We believe what we're told, which most of it's bullshit.
Yeah, this is fascinating knowledge that should be taught in schools. Hopefully, in the very near future, if you are gonna focus on this type of experience and realization, I think it will happen, and our children and their children will learn this knowledge in school.
Well, the thing is, like we're building this healing center in Romania, and obviously we're building it's going to be a beautiful community. It's going to help, people from all over the planet can come to it to heal, to upgrade, to learn different skills and tools, and go through this ascension process. But for me, ultimately, the main reason we're building this is to help the children because the children on planet Earth that are coming down and have been coming down for a little while now, they're so much more advanced than us. Their whole energy systems are different. Their auric field is on the inside of their body, so they can't be manipulated. They've got a different chakra system. Like there's so much that's different in their multidimensional architecture. And the children that are coming to Earth right now, they know how to run this planet better than we do. What happens in the UK is children that start to kind of show these kind of abilities, they get taken off into homes. They get demonized, they get, addicted to pornography, drugs, taken away from their parents, shut down, fucked up, and then sent back to their parents a little while later, a shadow of their former selves. So these healing centers that we build, we want to have them as a playground and a platform that children can come to and showcase their multidimensional abilities and actually show us how to run the planet. They
Yeah.
just need a safe environment, and that's what we're doing. That's what we want to build these things ultimately.
Yes, and if you remember, Yogananda did that in India in beginning of 20th century, 1910, 1915. He created a school for boys where they were meditating, they were playing outside, they were learning skills that they needed later in life. And Yogananda was all about wholeness and have your mind straight and clear and not being polluted by any outside sources. And he was successful. That these type of schools are still running these days in India.
Amazing.
Yeah. And Jerry, do you, I heard someone saying that in fact we can go up to 20 strands of DNA. Is that true or not?
Well, within each kind of strand of DNA, there are substrands. So it really depends on how you perceive it. I'm not sure about 20. I would say there's probably a lot more if you start to break down the substrands of DNA. How many in total? I'm not 100% sure, but I know there's a lot. But ultimately, there's these kind of initial 13 strands, but within each one, there are definitely substrands. Because when I look at it and I'm working with clients and stuff, and I look into the DNA, okay, and you break it open and you can see them split and you can see the layers and the layers within the layers of different information streams that you can activate. So there's definitely other layers and subsets of layers that give you access to different levels of information, different levels of data, because ultimately we're a computer system. Our body and brain is a biological computer, and the DNA houses the architecture that gives us access to pull that information out and become higher frequency supersonic superhumans.
Yeah, and because you just mentioned computer, biological computer, this is a nice segue into the next question. You talk a lot about AI. So, in your opinion, is there an organic AI that we can consider friendly and has the intention to help us evolve?
Well, we are the artificial intelligence. We are the AI. I mean, our human bodies are computer systems. Our brain is a supercomputer. We've just only accessed a very tiny little slither of it. I mean, AI can be used in a very positive way, but it can also be used in a very detrimental way. If you go throughout the universe, I mean, there is some kind of AI technology that kind of runs through everything. There is some kind of intelligence, and we are in a gigantic supercomputer. The whole universe and beyond the universe, the whole multiverse is some kind of gigantic supercomputer. So you could say the whole thing is artificial intelligence. You could say we are part of the artificial intelligence. There's just different layers and levels to it all, just different ways of perceiving the information.
Yes, interesting. Um, at the beginning, you mentioned that the activation of the Earth grids will also trigger a solar flare that will enhance our DNA activation. Is that solar flare going to cause any real damage than just this enhancement? I mean, natural calamities or something that people would would be worried about?
I don't know. It really depends on what you call calamities. Because you're going to have a lot of people at different levels of consciousness when this happens, but everybody's going to get an upgrade. Those people that have been doing the work and that have been diving into their hearts and working on themselves and bringing all of that shadow stuff into alignment and balance and really kind of, you know, understanding on a deep level who they are as like sovereign beings. It's not going to be so drastic for them, but people that are kind of really still in this kind of 3-4D space, locked into the matrix, they start having massive upgrades and start to see the truth. It might be like a load of mental patients running around planet Earth for a little while, like because they're seeing the truth. Might tip into fear. You don't know how people are going to react off the back of that. So the more work we can do and the more we can raise levels of consciousness before that happens, the better. This is one of those things we've just got to suck it and see. And no one really knows exactly how it's going to unfold.
And this is what you are doing through your workshops and one-to-one sessions and healing sessions when you facilitate, balancing the energy of everyone who has trauma and they need to evolve. So maybe you want to touch a little bit on this process for those who haven't heard how you do these type of sessions.
So, I mean, we train people in Star Magic. We've trained thousands of people in 65 plus countries, and everybody can do it. We've got a great process, an incredible training like camp that we take people through to activate these abilities, help them tap into the quantum field, access the information that they need to help facilitate the healing of other people, themselves, groups of people, friends, family, whoever. So we can show people how to do this stuff. We don't teach people how to do it, but we help people remember, because this isn't a teaching, this is a remembrance. We're remembering stuff that we've just forgotten. That's all. I've remembered it. And so I'm just helping other people remember. And so people can come and do the training. We've got group healings. We do meditation workshops, third activation workshops, Kundalini activation workshops, all different types of workshops, trainings, group healings. We do plant medicine retreats. Ultimately, everything is geared towards helping the human being step into their superhuman potential, activate the ability of telekinesis, healing at distance, teleportation, all of these different abilities that people have naturally had for billions of years, but have just simply forgotten. And so we've got processes, certain activations that we take people through to switch on their DNA, to unlock the information that's held on a deep cellular level, to help realign their multidimensional architecture. Most importantly, to activate the Holy Grail. A lot of people, people have watched films about we're trying to find the Holy Grail in the film. The Holy Grail is something that's inside of every human being. When you connect the God worlds to Mother Earth's God seed atom, and you run the magnetic frequencies up through the body and the electrical frequencies down through the body, the masculine and the feminine, the electrical and the magnetic, they harmonize and alchemize, creating one spiral, one crystal spiral through the body. When you grow this crystal spiral into a pillar around the physical structure, it creates an energy field like no other. And this is what catalyzes what we were talking about earlier with the multidimensional Merkaba field, with the dodecahedral heart. It also connects the 33 points on the spinal column to 33 nodal points around the planet through the platonic solids, which are activated in the heart structure. Because inside the platonic solids, you've got 33 grid points. They connect to the 33 grid points around the planet through the spinal column, which has 33 vertebrae. So this whole process, it all links in together. And we've got a very specific set of techniques and ways to help people do that. We'll use the back of the neck. The back of the neck is called God's mouth, or priests call it God's mouth. And priests wear those massive collars because they think that demons are going to come and attack them through the back of the neck. If you were a demon, it would be a great place to go and attack someone through the back of the neck. What we do is we use God's mouth for positive purposes. It's like an open portal. We run frequency in through the back of the neck up into the pineal gland. Then the master cell in the pineal gland downloads the codes into the cells in the body. And the human has a biological shift. Mentally, physically, emotionally, biologically, on every level, there's an upgrade of consciousness. And then this starts to activate everything that I've just mentioned previously. It's a process. It all happens like dominoes falling over. And we teach people how to do this or help people remember how to do this. And so other people are out in the world basically running these techniques and helping people shift and upgrade. And this is how we're up leveling human consciousness. It's fast, it's rapid, it can happen real quick.
Yes, and some of the techniques you are using are different types of breath work, and they are very intense. I can vouch for that, and quite unusual. Some of them, you create a lot of noise, but also you release a lot of trauma when you do that. And as you said, just stay still, and the body will do what it knows to do best. It will heal itself.
Absolutely. The body is designed to self-heal. We hand our power over too much as a species because no one ever taught us how to read the body. The body's a communication device, and when you've got pain in a particular area, it means something. Like the neck is about stubbornness, rigidity. The liver holds guilt, anger. The kidneys hold fear. The hips are about direction. Like every single body part means something, and when you know how to read the body, you know how to source the trauma points, whether it's from this reality or a past life or a future life, which are not really past and future. And once you get into the field, everything's now, everything's parallel. But ultimately, in this kind of linear time construct, there is past and future. So you go and find those past, future lives, parallel lives, which contain the trauma point, and you release it. And this is what we show people how to do. Once you release those traumas, the physical symptoms just disappear. And so as humans, we're supposed to just naturally heal, but we think too much. We run these programs. So ultimately, what we're doing is helping people dissolve those programs, obliterate those belief systems so they can free themselves and be the divine, sovereign human beings that they came to Earth to be. To be in love, to be happy, to live with joy, and not wake up every morning in fear, wondering what's around the corner, worrying about their bills, all the bullshit stuff that we worry about as humans, when really and truthfully, we're playing a game and it's just one great big cosmic joke and we should just be laughing and having fun. But we take it too seriously. We should be smiling, joking around, and just enjoying this human experience instead of seeing it as some kind of house of terrors or house of torture, which a lot of people do. It's a shit place for most of the human race. But actually, planet Earth is a beautiful, magical playground, and it's one of the best training facilities in the universe. It's not an easy place to come to, planet Earth. To come to planet Earth, you've got to have trained for billions of years. They don't just let any souls in here, because coming down to Earth, we've got the reincarnation cycle. We get blank slated on entry. We forget all of our other incarnations. So we're going into Groundhog Day over and over. So other higher dimensional beings know that when a soul comes to planet Earth, they might end up getting stuck here for a long time. And to actually find your way back to love, find your way back to freedom, sovereignty, back to your heart, and regain those superhuman abilities is a challenge. So it takes a brave soul to come here and a well-trained soul to come here to this school of hard knocks. But it's a beautiful space because when you work it out here, you can work it out anywhere.
Yes, I agree with you that this is a virtual game, and what we are going through on a daily life is a Ponzi scheme set up by the guys who are closer to the top of the game. And the moment you peel through the veil, you understand what's going on, you really don't care anymore, and you really can laugh, as you said, and enjoy life to its fullest.
Absolutely, man.
Jerry, you are one of the many light workers I interviewed over the years, but you are, I think, only one who combines plant medicine with the type of work you are doing. Why is that? How the addition or adding plant medicine help those who are coming to your workshops?
Well, we only do plant medicine on very specific retreats. We don't do it on our normal workshops, trainings, group healings. We do plant medicine at what we call our deep in space retreats. And the reason we combine plant medicine with star magic, meditation, breath work, all of the things that we do in star magic is because we're giving people an opportunity to go deeper. Plant medicine itself, whether it's San Pedro, ayahuasca, psilocybin, like all of these medicines are absolutely amazing and they cut through so much crap. So, you go and do a night or two, 3 nights, 8 nights, whatever it is of aya, psilocybin, you're cutting through decades, centuries, billions of years of trauma in a very short period of time. It cuts through that analytical stuff and it gets straight to the core of what needs to be done. Now, when you put plant medicine, or when someone consumes plant medicine and they're in your space and you've got a beautiful sacred container and you truly understand the multidimensional playing field, you can go into that person's field and help them go even deeper, even faster. So you can work with them. So we apply star magic in plant medicine scenarios because the person's field is so open and you've got access to so much more. And when they're on plant medicine, they can join you in the process of actually facilitating their healing because they're seeing and feeling and experiencing things, that they are not able to see and experience off plant medicine. So they take an active role in what's taking place. So we can cut through a lot more bullshit. We can get to the crux of where we need to get to a lot faster. People that are coming into our medicine retreats with demonic entities, shadow parasites, we can strip them out in a heartbeat. So the healing, we could get through so much healing. And all our plant medicine retreats, they're always 10 days, and we drink medicine every day and sometimes twice a day. They're very, very deep, very, very experiential, very powerful. And we've got an amazing bunch of facilitators that cater for the people that come into our sacred space. We're really good at what we do. And so we combine the two together because it's just a next level of experience. It's why we call it deep in space. It's extremely deep. And you're going to be in space. You forget about time and logic and your human world, and you just drift off into other planets. And yeah, you truly understand the multiverse on every level. It's supersonic, super amazing. Everybody should come and try it out. I highly recommend it. I mean, people will drink higher, will take them through an hour's worth of breath work and then into a deep meditation. Doing an hour's worth of breath work with us and then going into a deep meditation is super powerful anyway. You do that on plant medicine, it's a whole other galactic experience. It takes a unique skill set to be able to manage a space like that. But you ask anyone that's been to our deep in space retreats, and they'll tell you we handle it like we're spiritual gangsters. We know how to facilitate.
Yes, I mean, drinking for 10 days back to back, that's tough. I mean, I did it only 2 days back to back and it was okay. I mean, I never tried the third day because it wasn't the environment set up for something like that. I did drink 3 times within the same session for a different purpose, and that was brutal, to be honest with you. And I was able to come alive at the end of that session, that ceremony, which was also a good thing. But yes, I think it's very tough to drink back to back for so many days, and you have to have the mindset of, let's do it. I'm gonna pull through. Whatever doesn't belong to this body has to come off. So that's the mentality.
It takes a brave soul to embark on a journey like that, and it's also about how you prepare people. If you prepare people correctly for what's about to happen, what may or may not happen, then you arm them mentally and emotionally. You give them skills and tools to combat different situations and work their way through it. And when they've got those skills and tools and knowledge and understanding of how things can unfold, what may or may not happen, and they're surrounded by a bunch of incredible facilitators, nothing else is required. There's so many little pieces of this puzzle that need to be in place. And if they're not in place, they can turn to custard quite quickly. But that's what we do.
Yes. Very, very interesting subject, and I dwell on it with other guests which are specialized on sacred plant medicine. They train in Peru with shamans. They run their own shows. And again, I never encounter anyone like you who combines both the energy work and the plant medicine, which is a very powerful combo.
Yeah, I've been to the jungle and drunk in a traditional ceremony, and you've got to lie down on your mattress, and you kind of like got to be still. There's not too much interaction, and it's a beautiful experience. Um, with our experiences, we let people be a bit more free. People dance around, like people can chat. We just let the space unfold naturally. And you have the times when everyone's laid out, you've got times when people are dancing, you've got times when it's a mixture. It's just a beautiful dance. And all we do is hold space so that musical symphony can play itself and so that sacred dance can unfold.
Yes, yes, it's beautiful indeed. Jerry, I would like to turn to a very dear subject to me, water. I studied water. I wrote two books on this subject. How is your relationship with water, knowing that the quality of water within our body determines our health and how we live our life?
I mean, we're predominantly water-based beings. If you go all the way back to the start of creation, it was the elements that started to form planets and galaxies. And so, within our bodies, the mineral kingdom, the water kingdom are very, very important. And so having a good relationship with water is important, you know. Um, the water on our planet is it's hard to find clean water because they poison it on purpose because they want us to be unhealthy. And it's a great way to control us. It's a great way to get stuff into our system to ruin us from the inside. But for me, um, if I get my water, I'm going to put my water through certain filters. Um, I've got certain machines that we use. I always hold my water and talk to it and love it and change the molecular structure of it through my heart, through love, and then drink it. And it's a sacred process every time I drink water. I'd never get it from the tap. I mean, it's got fluoride in it, other bullshit chemicals. Fluoride in its natural form burns through concrete. So imagine what it's doing to your body, to your pineal gland. Finding clean water. I mean, in Romania, where we're building our house, we dug down about 130 meters and we found a beautiful, crystal clear, clean water source. And so now we've got fresh water pumping up into our garden, which is going to be used in the whole healing center, which is completely fresh. And literally about 500 meters from our house, there's a natural spring with fizzy water coming out. Sparkling water comes out the ground. I didn't even know you could get sparkling water coming out the ground until we bought this land and went for a walk and found this place. But there's other places in Romania too where sparkling water comes out the ground, and the mineral content in this water is out of this off the chain. So having good water is mission critical. Like when I go to Romania and I drink the water straight out of the ground, my body craves it. It doesn't matter how much water I put into my body wants more of it. It's like, you keep feeding me because it knows it's good. I could go and get a bottle of water from the shop here. I could clean it. I could put it through a water system, whatever it is. I'll drink it. And at some point, my thirst is going to be quenched. It's like, I don't really need any more water. It's not really that your thirst is being quenched. It's just that your body's saying, I've had enough of this bullshit water now. When the water is amazing, your body will just keep consuming it. It just keeps wanting it. And Romania, I'm telling you, has some beautiful, beautiful water sources. It's another reason I can't wait to be out there full time. Like when I'm in Romania and I'm drinking the water there, my whole energy is different. Whole frequency is different. I'm a highly energized being anyway. It's very rare that you'll see me sitting around saying, oh, I'm tired, I've got no energy. Very, very rare. When I'm in Romania, I'm just bouncing off the walls because of the water that I'm drinking. It's different.
Yes, people might not believe, but in certain villages, people still go with their buckets and recipients and take water directly from the ground from the spring. And I know in my father's village, we used to go there when I was young, and it was this spring. The moment you go up the road to enter the village, and we were stopping there, filling up our bottles, drinking, no purification is required, nothing. The water is just unbelievable, as you said.
Well, I mean, even though we've got our well in our garden now, we still go down the road to get the sparkling water. So I love sparkling water. I think water should be fizzy. It should be sparkling because it's got energy in it. The bubbles is energy. The flat water that we drink, it's energyless. So for me, I like drinking sparkling water. So we go down there with bottles and buckets, not so many buckets because carrying it back, you spill some, but we go down there in the car with like 30 or 40 bottles and we'll fill them all up and we'll take them back and stick them in the basement where it's really cool. And we'll drink the water over the next, couple of weeks and then go back and fill up another load of bottles. And people are down there every single day filling
Mm.
up their bottles and buckets for their houses. It's beautiful.
Okay, I will ask you where exactly is the location. I'll come and buy a house near you.
Yeah, like where we are, we're up in Hargeisa.
Oh, Argita, yes. Okay, I
Yeah,
looked
yeah.
at that location a while back. Yes, the houses and the area is amazing there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like where we're building the healing center, it's right on the border of Hungary. So it's like a lot of the people that live there, they're Hungarian, they speak Hungarian. And so the way that we had to design our healing center, it's geometrically designed, but we had to have the facades like a combination of like Romanian and Hungarian architecture, which is it's really different. So the buildings are like geometrical with this kind of Hungarian cross, Romanian architecture. It's off the chain. It's amazing. So we're really, really lucky to be able to have the opportunity to build it in this way.
Yeah, beautiful. Jerry, I think I heard you say once, the more you try to create peace and eliminate war, the greater the distortion in our perception. Is that right? Can you expand on it?
So what I've said is like, if you want to get rid of war, don't try and get rid of war. Focus on peace. Like what we have to do is to realize that like dark and light are both parts of the puzzle. And we have darkness and light in all of us. And for us to bring that darkness and light into equilibrium, we've got to be in that central point, walking that middle way and bringing everything into that 0 point. If you want to get rid of war, there's no point going into an anti-war demonstration, because you're creating more war because it's still war. What you want to do is just focus on the truth. And there is only one truth, and that truth is love. And if we can just all be love, then everything else will fall into alignment and fall into that 0 point. And the darkness and the light, the war and the peace will all become one. And it will be exactly where we need to be. Sometimes it's good to have contrast. Without contrast, you don't know where you are. So if you're in love all the time, you forget what it's like to be outside of love. So actually stepping outside of the 0 point and thinking, actually, no, I don't really like this. This war is not very nice. So the war gives us contrast to remind us where we do want to be. So all of these things in our environment, we can look at them in a positive way, in a positive light, and say, okay, they're there to help and guide us back to where we do want to be and not keep us where we don't want to be. So war can be positive in a way. It's not nice that people get blown up. It's not nice that people get killed. I don't agree with that at all. But at the same time, everything in our environment is a teacher. Everything in our environment is a guide. And if we can frame everything from a positive perspective, we can always mine the gold from every situation. So many people focus on the bullshit. So many people focus on the negative. But actually, there is no negative. There's only positive if you choose to mine the gold from all of the experiences that you have. And some of the experiences might be harsh, but it doesn't mean they're negative. You can still grow from them. Like if you get a seed and you put it into the soil, you're putting it into the darkness. The darkness is required to help the seed grow. It's required to help nourish the seed, to fuel the seed so the seed can grow into a beautiful plant, a beautiful tree, an apple tree, a cherry tree, or whatever it is. So darkness is important. It's like butterflies, like caterpillars go into the chrysalis. And when the caterpillars go into the chrysalis, they're in the darkness. And at some point, they come out as a beautiful butterfly. But scientists have cut the butterfly out from the chrysalis too early, and the butterflies can't fly because their wings aren't strong enough, because they've not been in the darkness long enough. So people can see the darkness as bad, or they can see the darkness as nourishing. It really depends on your perception. And that comes down to your kind of level of consciousness and your level of self-awareness and where you're kind of at on the vibrational scale. People that are on a low frequency will see everything as bad. People that are on a higher frequency will mine the gold from each situation.
Yes. And like someone who was able to see an instance of the dark, what we call the dark side, and how powerful that entity and that concept can be, and coming through it unscathed. I can vouch that only love can save us from that concept. And if even a thought comes from time to time into our mind, we have to acknowledge, in fact, that is not our thought, and we just send it love, and that thought and that entity, whatever comes towards us, will vanish, will go.
Most of the time. Love is definitely the key. Love is the answer. Love is the question. There are certain like dimensional beings that even if you love them, then they will still hang around and to still try and do certain things. It depends on the level of frequency of the entity and what the entity's abilities are. There are some entities that you need to actually deal with hands-on and actually create some kind of geometrical structure, which is what we teach people, help people remember how to do, to take that entity back to whichever dimensional space it needs to go to, or often source is the ultimate way, but not always that's possible. But there are certain techniques that you've got to apply in certain situations. But ultimately, what you're saying is right on some level. I mean, I remember, a guy that we trained. He was I think he was in Dubai, and an entity came into his room one night and was pinning him down by his wrists, and he was fighting and struggling and trying to get away. And the more he struggled and the more he fought, the more energy the entity had. But when the guy opened his heart and became pure love, the entity couldn't hold the frequency of that space, so it went. Same thing happened to my son one time. He was in his bedroom, going back years when we first started Star Magic, and this being came into his bedroom and was strangling him, and he was trying to shout for me in the next bedroom, but he couldn't because he was being strangled. And then he remembered what I taught him: get into your heart, open your heart, and just be the frequency of love. And he did that, and the being backed off. So it does work, but there are certain situations when you've got to take a hands-on approach.
Yes, indeed. Jerry, I want to be considerate of your time, and I'm very grateful that you came on the show. We are approaching the end of it, and you are a very multifaceted being, and I am very grateful for everything you do for us and for humanity in general. And what you say is printed on your T-shirt and everywhere in your business. Love, one heart, one humanity. So that's amazing. And I know you have workshops and all over the throughout the year, and people can go to, again, starmagichealing.org. I encourage them to buy your latest book, which has a lot of your techniques you teach people during your workshops. Any other final thoughts, please?
Just thank you for having me. It's been an amazing chat. Really grateful to be here. I would just say to everybody, go out and be yourself. Go out and be unapologetically authentic. Whatever your heart is pulling you towards, steering you towards, just follow it, because your heart is your life compass. It will always lead you in the direction of your dreams. Trust it. Don't listen to what other people tell you. Just focus on you. And don't give a flying fuck about anything, really. Just have fun. Step into that kind of unfuckwithable mindset where nothing derails you, and you just be exactly who you are, express yourself, and just enjoy this human experience, because it might be the last time you come to Earth, who knows? So make the most of it. Have fun every day. Wake up with joy in your heart, and just go out and just take life by the horns, and just ride the wave, man. Enjoy the process and love your sisters and brothers. We're a great big family on this planet. If you hate someone, you're only poisoning yourself. If you're angry towards someone, you're only poisoning yourself. So just love, and just do what feels good.
Amazing advice. Thank you very much, my brother. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, man.
And to my viewers, thank you for watching. Don't forget, visit us at www.spiritualinspired.ca, gnostictv.com. Visit starmagichealing.org. You can register for free for 7 or 15 days. I can't remember exactly. Take advantage of what you find there. A lot of information and meditations. And until next time, Love and gratitude.